As movie theaters turn themselves over to kids for the summer, 3 spellbinding documentaries and 1 very moving story about young love offer something for the rest of us. Plus, one of the most influential films of all time marks 50 years on the big screen. I'm Bill Newcott, film critic for the Saturday Evening Post. All that and more on this week's podcast, Movies for the Rest of Us.
What I think is quite clear is there is division, violence, and a disenchantment with our society. We can start to work together. We are a great country and a compassionate country.
The 4-hour Netflix film, Bobby Kennedy for President, is a heartbreakingly intimate portrait of JFK's younger brother, a man marked for greatness, cut down in his prime. Director Don Porter mined more than 1,000 archival sources for clips, most of which have never been seen or heard before. Do you think part of this appeal of Bobby Kennedy is the fact that he's a man who changed?
He not only changed, but he acknowledged that he changed. And he was not only unafraid of change, it felt like he welcomed it. He kept surrounding himself with people who might challenge him.
There is a new generation going to take over here in the United States, and this country is going to move ahead.
And I think that is so different than today. We create the bubble we want to live in. And instead you see, Kennedy going across the aisle, actually one by one kind of, gathering votes, but gathering, information and being curious.
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg gets the rock star treatment in RBG, a new theatrical film that traces her life from humble beginnings to the highest court in the land. Directors Julie Cohen and Betsy West sit down with Ginsburg, friends and colleagues, for this no-holds-barred look at the woman whose fans call her the notorious RBG. Julie and Betsy, thank you. Congratulations on the film. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love the film. I watched it with my wife, who is just spellbound. Your film speaks to everybody, but does it speak especially to women, do you think?
Absolutely. It seems to cause a particularly strong emotional reaction in women. We've had a lot of women telling us that they, had to shed a number of tears throughout the film, and it just seems like there's a cathartic side that to the reaction that maybe is beyond what we might have expected.
How many students at that school have committed suicide?
He was very handsome, very charismatic. He looked like a movie star.
When director Paige Goldberg-Tolmack learned that 6 of the 49 boys who graduated from her high school class had committed suicide over the past 35 years, she became determined to find out why. Her devastating and infuriating documentary, What Haunts Us, gets to the awful truth that involves, sadly once again, pedophilia and the willful ignorance of those in charge.
I'll be thinking of you.
We're here, married.
Nothing went wrong.
Even my mother behaved herself.
Novelist Ian McEwan wrote the screenplay for this adaptation of his novel On Chesil Beach about a naive couple on their honeymoon. It's a moody masterpiece, capped by haunting performances by Saoirse Ronan and Billy Howell.
What?
Actually, I'm a little bit scared.
What begins as a charming awkwardness descends into blind panic, and soon we're learning just how mismatched this adorable but doomed pair is.
It's hopeless.
Is it?
At home this week, you can catch this year's Best Foreign Language Film Oscar winner, Al Pacino in his latest triumph, and the 30th anniversary of Bruce Willis's breakthrough movie. Here are my home video quick hits. This year's Best Foreign Language Oscar winner was A Fantastic Woman, starring Daniela Vega as a transgender woman in Chile. She's just trying to go about her life, but the entire society seems lined up against her. Vega is powerful in the role, but writer-director Sebastian Lelio seems bent on demonizing anyone who doesn't quite understand what the main character is going through.
That's Joe Paterno, the winningest coach in college football history.
Dad, did you know about Jerry?
Longtime coaches Jerry Sandusky is charged with sexually abusing 8 boys.
Al Pacino's towering performance as Penn State football legend Joe Paterno was on HBO, and now it's available for streaming. Paterno doesn't really answer all the questions surrounding Penn State's child abuse scandal, but Pacino's Paterno, sometimes befuddled, sometimes defiant, is a character you can't forget.
You want to fire me? Try it.
Men's room.
I am not a sexist.
Not only are you a sexist, but you are the sexiest sexist it has ever been my good fortune to satirize.
Until 1988, fans knew Bruce Willis mostly as Sybil Shepherd's wisecracking sidekick on TV's Moonlighting. That all changed when Willis starred as off-duty cop John McClane in Die Hard.
I know what a TV dinner feels like.
Die Hard is now out in a 30th anniversary Blu-ray edition, and it's die hardier than ever.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay.
It's hard to believe it's been 50 years since 2001, A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick's sci-fi classic, first came to theaters. And to celebrate that anniversary, theaters around the country are showing it on the big screen, the way it was meant to be seen. You know, a lot of the technology in 2001 seemed far-fetched at the time. I mean, who thought we'd actually have picture phones or orbiting space stations? And even a lot of our smart home technology was first seen in 2001. But, open the front door, Hal. Open the front door, Hal. Hal, open the front door.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What seems to be the problem, Hal?
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
All right, Hal. I'm coming in through the garage door.
I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over. I know I've made some very poor decisions recently, but I can give you my complete assurance that my work will be back to normal. I've still got the greatest enthusiasm and confidence in the mission, and I want to help you. Stop. Stop, will you? Stop. Will you stop? I'm afraid. My mind is going. I can feel it. I can feel it. My mind is going. There is no question about it. I can feel it. I can feel it.